Hi, I'm Kitty Feldy, and welcome to the Book Club of the Air. This is our opportunity to talk about young adult fiction with some of the harshest critics around. The young adults who actually read the books. Our book this month is called A Perfect Friend, and it is written by Reynolds Price. And my group of critics this month are all from, they're all 8th graders, and they are all from Olive Vista Middle School out in Sylmar. And let us welcome, starting off over there on my left, on your right, with Jacqueline Herrera. Oh, I'm sorry, I blew it already, didn't I? Cynthia Martin, welcome. Thank you so much for being with us today. And also sitting next to you, Lauren Kay. Nice to see you. And sitting next to you, finally, yes indeed, it is Jacqueline Herrera. Thanks you guys very much. Let's start off, for people who didn't get a chance to read the book, with a basic plot summary. And Lauren, you have volunteered to be our guinea pig. What's the book about?
Basically, the book was about a boy who lost his mother, and at the very beginning, at a very young age, his mother just planted in him his love for elephants. And so he takes his loss from his mother and puts it into his love for elephants, and he finds an elephant and they become friends. Okay, and Jacqueline, why don't you tell us who the main characters are in the book?
The main character is the little boy, Ben, and the elephant, they call her Sal.
Well, tell us about Ben.
Ben, he's a boy that lost his mom at a young age. He lives with his father, and he hangs out a lot with his cousin and his friend Dunk.
And what are they like?
His cousins, I guess cool, I guess. They hang out together a lot, do a lot of stuff together.
Cynthia, where does this book take place? It certainly doesn't take place in LA.
It takes place somewhere in the US. It doesn't exactly say, but it's here in the US.
It's somewhere in the US, but it didn't seem like California, did it?
No.
And what about the period of time? I couldn't quite tell when it was supposed to have been set. How about you, Lauren?
I think it was around the time when kids were more interested in outdoor games than TV.
So probably before TV was around. So yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a really interesting way of trying to decide what time in history really took place. Because they did have telephones, but they didn't have television because they were always outside playing. Yeah. You guys didn't like this book at all, I understand.
No.
No, I love this book, so you got to tell me why. Lauren, why don't you start? Okay. Be bold. The writer's not hiding out behind the stacks, I don't think.
Like you said earlier, I think that this is a book more for somebody who's lost somebody very, very dear to them and maybe took their refuge in another person, pet, or an idea that they had. Because maybe I just couldn't grasp what he was feeling.
It was a very emotional book. I mean, it seemed to be just pure emotions about what he was going through. Was that boring to read?
It wasn't the emotions that made it boring. It was the constant, what is wrong with you feeling? Because, I mean, I got kind of upset by the way he was treating his friend Dunk, who had been there for him, and the way he was treating his cousin when all she was trying to do was help. And his insensitive feelings toward his father. Yeah. That just made me not care. It's like, I mean, I cared, but how can I feel bad for you when you're not even thinking about the other people around you?
So you have a really self-absorbed main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, you agree with that, Cynthia. Is that the main problem, do you think, that the writer chose a protagonist who just wasn't, I don't know, somebody we all wanted to be like? Or could identify with, maybe? What'd you think about him?
I thought it was kind of like repeating itself. Like it kept saying how much he loved elephants, and then a couple minutes later, how much he loved elephants. Just kept repeating itself.
And after a while, you thought, if he says, I love elephants one more time, I'm going to throw the book across the room. Why did you not like it a whole lot, Jacqueline?
Like they said earlier, it was kind of childish. Like, it was like more for entertaining for like little kids than our age people.
So we think what age group do you think this would be better for?
I kind of think that there is no age group because the words that they use may have been childish, but I don't think any person's younger than us would be able to really grasp at, but all ages for somebody who can relate to how he was feeling.
Yeah.
So maybe it's designed for someone who is dealing with death. Yeah, I have to admit, I think probably the reason I picked it up and it resonated with me was because I lost my mom, and it's been 12 years now, but in some of those, you know, I emotionally, it was like it just happened yesterday when I was reading it in the book. Yeah. That idea, the thing that he writes about in the book that I thought was interesting was this idea about visits from people who've died. And, you know, I don't know what your religion is, but it's sort of an interesting idea. My husband always says, sometimes when I walk down the street and I'll see a woman who's sort of dressed like the way my mother used to dress, that even though she doesn't really look like my mother, that's like a little visit from her to remind me how much she still loves me. And I thought that was just something private. I didn't know that somebody else felt that way. So I guess I was kind of surprised to see him write about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lauren, you've lost someone in your family, not your mom, but
My stepfather.
your stepfather. And did you identify with those feelings of loss that he writes about, or was it different?
It was different. I mean, we had just started getting kind of close, and I didn't really share my feelings with my pet. I kind of did it with my mom and my sister.
Yeah. So you didn't know each other that well when you lost him. You didn't have that years of history with him. Yeah. And you lost a couple of people too in your family not so long ago, Cynthia.
Yeah, I lost my grandmother about 2 years ago, and my aunt in October, so I hasn't even been a year.
What was that like? I mean, for you to feel, what did it feel like?
It was very painful because with my aunt, I spent almost every day with her. So it's just for all of a sudden to just pass on, it's very sad.
How did you deal with it differently than the way that this, I mean, were you as self-absorbed as as Ben is in this book?
No, I just tried to think of what would make her happy. That would be like my behavior and all that, so.
Do you still talk to her?
Sometimes.
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about his relationship with his friends. Dunk is, well, let me ask you guys, who was your favorite character? Since obviously Ben was not. Of all the other characters in the book, were there any that you liked better than anybody else?
His cousin.
Yeah,
His cousin. Tell us why. Tell us about Robin.
Robin.
Whoops, one at a time. Let's do Lauren. You can. That's all
ahead.
right. You're all too polite. All right, Cynthia, you start, and Lauren, you jump in, and then Jacqueline will come down
She
to you.
was just a easygoing, wanting to have fun all the time kind of person.
She reminds you of yourself?
Kind of.
What about you, Lauren? What was it about her?
How she could notice everything about her cousin, about the way she was treating Dunk, and still give advice without being biased about it, because she could see from everybody's opinion, because it seemed to me that while she was inside making corrections, she could also take 2 steps back and see the entire picture.
Was she the wisest character, do you think?
Not exactly the wisest, but like I said, I think she noticed more and was able to see.
What'd you think, Jacqueline?
I thought she was just like really outgoing and like had a lot of fun. I was like a friend.
Yeah. Did anybody like Dunk?
Dunk was kind
he
of funny.
He was funny.
It kind of surprised me when he came out and said, "I wish that you could teach me to be better behaved," and come out. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it didn't seem like him.
No. And it surprised me that he knew what to tell that elephant, you know, when the elephant was squeezing too hard. How did he know that?
Probably because of his experiences.
Yeah.
Because why?
It said earlier that he had experience, that he had talked to his dog a couple times.
So he understood what the elephant was saying just as
Yeah.
much as Ben was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Not.
Not
Well,
quite.
not exactly, but
because when Ben had been over Dunk's house, Ben had been able to tell that Dunk and his dog were communicating, not because he could hear, but because he could see the way they were talking to each other. And I think that the elephant could understand Dunk, but Dunk couldn't hear what the elephant was saying, but he could kind of tell what she was feeling.
What about that idea about communicating with animals? Is that something that the author just made up, or do you believe it's true?
I believe that you can maybe not communicate, but you can transfer feelings. So you can kind of catch the drift of what they're saying, like, leave me alone, I'm not in the mood, or let's play.
And then the cat sits right there in the middle of your lap anyway, because you know it'll irritate you. What about you?
I do believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there an animal you communicate with particularly well?
Well, when I had my dog,
Yeah.
we would sometimes sit and watch TV, and he'd be relaxed. And then one time, he was flirting with this other dog, and he was like really mad, and I tried to avoid it, and he bit me. So it's kind of weird. But so I started I would see that he would start like getting mad around me, so I tried to avoid him as much.
Because you were interfering with his love life there.
Yeah.
How about you, Jacqueline? Do you have a pet that you communicate with?
Not really.
Do you like animals?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever felt that there was a kind of sympathy between you and animals that
Not
was
really.
special? Not really. How about you, Lauren? I mean, do you have a particular animal you communicate with?
I have 2 puppies, and they act a lot like humans. That it's so much. Doesn't seem like animal communication to me. It seems just like playing around with my little brothers.
Yeah. Well, they might be a little immature to communicate. Maybe they're not, like
No.
trying to communicate with a 2-year-old is a lot more difficult than.
They get their point across.
They do?
Not
How?
by being mad or anything, but like they get back at my mom when we put them outside.
What do they do?
Like they'll poop in front of her door and then run away. Like we let them in one time because we'd opened the door to go outside, and they ran in, pooped in my mom's bathroom, and ran back outside just to say, haha, I got you back.
So they make it extremely clear if they're not happy with you.
But they also they also can tell you when they're feeling good.
Yeah.
They'll come and give you a quick kiss like on the cheek and then run away and say, haha,
Oh, that's
come get
nice.
me.
Yeah. I'm a cat person, though, more than a dog person. I had a cat when I was in grammar school, and now we have another cat. And they seem to communicate pretty well, exactly, And I always felt that they know when you're sad. They come to you. You found that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that they somehow
They
sense
want to
that.
snuggle more.
Yeah, they know that you need that time with them for some reason. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the elephant. Well, specifically the incident of the elephant. Then we can talk about the literary side of that elephant. The first time I read the book, I was a little disturbed because I'm thinking, as the adult, oh my God, they're letting that child in there with a giant elephant. He'll crush him to death. I'm thinking, what sensible circus would ever do this? Did you get that feeling reading as 8th graders, much more mature human beings than he was? No, not at all. Well, yes and no. All right, let's do this.
Not much.
Not much.
Yeah.
Didn't bother you at all.
Because Ben was the one that wanted to go. Like, the ringmaster didn't want to let him, but he was the one that begged them to let him in.
What'd you think, Lauren?
I felt that the elephant would be able to sense his love towards him because when he first went to see the elephant, Ben said, I'm not going to hurt you. In fact, I love you. I want to be your friend. So I don't think the elephant would have done any harm to him because she realized that, oh, this is a harmless little boy, just wants to play.
Well, did you get nervous at all when he went up to pet the nose of the lion?
I'm like that too. Not lions, maybe, but yeah, I meet new animals and I say, oh, hi, how you doing? Like, I know them all my life, and I'll put my hand out.
Yeah.
Like that.
Of course, it was a stranger out, it wasn't like the lion down the street that he knew every day. Did it bother you at all?
Not really.
Not really?
It's just like, yeah, whatever.
Well, let's talk about the elephant in the book as a metaphor, and let's explain. People maybe not understand what a metaphor is. Who's got a good explanation for metaphor? Lauren?
A metaphor is saying something, it's like a simile without the like and as.
That's a good description. So something is sort of standing in for something else.
Like, he was a tall oak tree.
Yeah.
Meaning he was strong and he could stand there, but Ben was not a tall oak tree.
So what were the elephants, or what was that elephant a metaphor for?
I don't think the elephant really represented a metaphor. I think the elephant, well, maybe it did. It represented how, not really represented, but showed that there was somebody he could depend on to go and be there for him.
What is there about elephants, from what we've learned in the book and from what you know from other studies? What do we know about elephants and what they are as animals that might be part of his character that he sees in himself or wants to see in somebody else? Or
they care about each other.
They care about each other.
Yeah, they are very close in families, and they're gentle and strong.
Mm-hmm. So would the elephant actually be a metaphor for Ben in some ways, or not really? Or what he wants to be?
Kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
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 Maybe what he wants to be, yes,
Yeah.
but not what he is right now. Because the book ended, and maybe if they have a sequel, it'll show what he was after that. And if he's anything like the elephant, then yeah, I could say, yeah, that's what he wanted to be, but not right now.
Let's talk a little bit about, he's very superstitious about happy things, and I'm sure it's because it's the time in his life. His mother died, he's pretty sad, but he's really suspicious about, things jinxing when something good happens. Is that a feeling you share? Do you ever think that things are pretty good, something bad's going to happen, I can feel it?
No.
No, you're optimistic people at heart.
I don't like to ruin it by thinking, oh no, tomorrow's going to be worse.
Me, kind of.
You?
Yeah.
What's the feeling? Describe it.
It's just like you're so happy, and then all of a sudden, like a few days, a few hours, or whatever, like you just feel like something's going to happen.
And does it usually?
I don't think so.
So why do you think we feel that way sometimes?
I don't know.
Yeah. Jacqueline, what about you? Are you an optimist or a pessimist?
I think I kind of sometimes, because like sometimes like really exciting, but then like something happens and you're like, oh damn, that sucks.
Mm-hmm. If you guys were to rewrite this book, if you had the basic same plot, just sort of basically the same plot, a kid who loves elephant, whose mother died, how would you write it differently so that people in 8th grade, for example, might find it interesting, and maybe making Ben a more interesting character? What would you do to really punch this book up and make it more interesting?
Make it funnier.
Jacqueline?
Make it funnier.
Make it funnier, humor. Oh, you're right, humor's missing in this book. I forgot about that. Yeah, what else?
More action or something.
Action, more things to happen, less emotional, internal, and more external stuff.
Yeah.
Well, give me an example of something that could have happened.
Like, there's this, when he's in the tent, that he says that he wants to be with the elephant. I thought he was gonna run away with him.
Yeah.
Or like try to buy him off his owner, but he didn't.
He didn't. Yeah, you're right. He was sort of passive, waiting for things to happen to him. Lauren, you're the writer. What are you going to do to punch this book up? You're going to make the movie. You're going to make the movie. So what are you going to do to punch this up for the movie?
It just occurred to me that this book was too down to earth. It was too reality. It needed, as a book, I think that it needed something that couldn't possibly happen in real life. It was too much. It needed happy.
But I think what you're also saying is it almost needed, what they call in Latin American literature magic realism, something supernatural to happen, because he hints about that, in the dreams that he has with his mother and this communication he has with the elephant, but it's not quite crossing that line to real fantasy. So would you buy that maybe a little more Harry Potter would help?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I had that actor from that movie when they talked about Dunk.
Yeah.
Who's the best friend, the redheaded friend? Ron? Yeah, so I had pictured in my mind for that in the movie. Well, give me an example then of a really fabulous book that you like to read. Give me a recommendation.
Ella Enchanted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
We actually talked about it for the radio version. Oh, actually, it's not right. Coming up in December, that's going to be our book for the Book Club of the Year.
Call me.
Well, I hope what we'll be able to do is invite people to come on down. We do these at the LA Library, And so it would be great if we had an audience to come and ask questions and join in the conversation. So we tape them on the first Wednesday of the month down here at the LA Library, and people are invited to come and join us here. So more information, check out Channel 36's website, but otherwise just come on down to the downtown library about 4 in the afternoon on the first Wednesday of the month. And Ella Enchanted is our December book, and we will have the full listing posted eventually, one of these days, really soon, so you can read it all. But tell me why Ella Enchanted worked as a book for you guys.
It's fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, it had real life occurrences, but still managed to get in that this can't possibly happen, but I'm going to put it in there anyway.
So it's, they call it willing suspension of disbelief. You as the reader were willing to take reality and put it over here because the writer was taking you on this wonderful journey. Yeah, okay.
And it stayed interesting. I read that book ragged, and I still enjoy it.
That's good. What's your favorite book?
I don't really have a specific favorite book, but I like chicken soup books.
You like which ones?
Chicken soup. Chicken soup.
Oh, the chicken soup for the soul books.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
I don't know, because I kind of relate with some of the stories.
Yeah.
So are you, I would say that, you know, my husband always says there's two kinds of people in the world, fiction people and nonfiction people. So would you say you're a nonfiction person? Or?
I'm like in the middle. I like fiction and I like nonfiction.
Tell me a fiction book you like.
I just read one. No, wait. No, I don't.
Nothing comes to mind. What else?
I like a lot of books with sequels. I like the Harry Potter ones, Teenage Soul. I love the Ella Enchanted books also.
Because you get invested in a character and you want to see what happens on and on and on. Yeah. And give me another one.
I only read fiction.
You only read fiction. You are one of those over here on this side, one of those purely fiction people. Yeah, I think I am too. I have to read nonfiction for my job, and so when I go on vacation, the only thing I bring with me is fiction, and I like young adult fiction a lot. I like it a lot. Have you read Skellig?
No.
Oh. Actually, you'd like that because it has that, it drops off into unreality kind of quality. It's by David Almond, A-L-M-O-N-D, I think. And
like the nut, right? Spelled like the nut? Or?
Yeah, spelled like the nut. Yeah, I had a picture of, my spelling is poor. But it's this kid who's, again, it's family in trouble kind of thing. His baby sister's born prematurely, and they've just moved to a new house, and they were supposed to have it remodeled, and they never got around to it, and so the house is in chaos, and the family's in chaos, and no one pays attention to him, and he's not supposed to go to the garage, but he does anyway, and he goes out there, and he encounters this creature that we don't know if it is a, I don't know, it could be an angel, or an owl, or a creature from another planet. I mean, you just don't know what it is.
That's crazy.
And he decides that he has to save this creature by doing things like ordering Chinese food. You know, the guy likes this one particular kind of Chinese food, so he always orders this kind of Chinese food. But and beer, for some reason, the same. And he has to. He knows that if he can keep this creature alive, then his baby sister will stay alive too. So that's that. So those are my suggestions for the book. You guys are great. Thank you very much. I appreciate your coming out and talking to us today. And we also want to thank your teacher, Miss Minnie Teller from... Miss Minnie Teller. I appreciate that, who is the teacher of the 8th grade out at Olive Vista Middle School. And thanks to you guys as well, your school librarian, Ella Saletta, who came out and drove you out today. And Cynthia Martin, thank you very much. And Lauren Kay, thank you very much. And Jacqueline Herrera, thank you very much. And next month, we will be back here at the library, and we'll be talking about Betty Green's wonderful book. It's called The Summer of My German Soldier, and I hope you'll join us again. I'm Kitty Feldy. This is the Book Club of the Air. Thanks so much.